Great. Thank you so much. And welcome everyone. I think we're going to start tonight with one word from each person about why you're here, whether you're a donor or a recipient, a wannabe, a caretaker. So one word from each person. Tanya, welcome.
Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yes.
I'm a recipient.
Hi,
How's everybody? I'm a recipient.
Larry, one word.
One word is tools. I'm here to find tools to help me find a living kidney donor.
Lakshmi,
learn, advocate, and learn.
perfect. Thank you. George,
Support.
thank you. I appreciate your support.
That's a good one.
Marianne,
Recipient.
perfect. Thank you. Terry, you're muted. I think if you just hit your space bar, you'll unmute.
Are we on me?
Yep.
Oh, hi.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I've
Donna.
got
It was Terry.
Hope.
Terry, one word.
Hope.
I love it. Thank you. Jim,
I'm a recipient.
perfect. Dexter,
I would like to learn more.
thank you. Sarah,
Advocate and supporter.
thank you. Jim, you're muted. Jim's iPad. Jim, you are muted.
I'm in a meeting.
Jim, we'll get back to you as soon as you can figure out how to unmute. Donna,
I'm a caregiver and I'm looking for support.
thank you. Welcome. Jim,
I'm looking for support also.
Jim, what's your last name?
Miles.
Great. Welcome. Thank you. Mark,
Donor and advocate.
great. Thank you. Tracy,
Inspiration.
I'm sorry.
Inspiration.
Oh, wonderful. We're happy that you're here. Thank you. Sneha, you're muted.
Daughter. I'm trying to help my dad find a kidney.
Thank you. Debbie, hi. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I think the question must have been what we are, as far as I'm a caretaker and an advocate.
Thank you for being here, Debbie. Larry.
You did me already.
Okay, my screen must have shifted. Mike Graff. Yes, to unmute. Okay, we can come back to you. Maria, are you feeling well enough to give us a word?
Sure. How about two words? Connector and cheerleader.
Wonderful. Thank you. Mike?
Hi. Advocating, looking for a donor.
Perfect. Thank you. Tanya?
Searcher.
I'm sorry?
I'm a searcher, searching.
Searcher. You says muted, but you're here. Fabulous. Helen?
Recipient.
Wonderful. I forgot you already got your kidney. That's so wonderful. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you. Anyone that I missed? Great. Well, I think that was a really nice way to start. I'm so glad everyone's here, and I'd like to pass the microphone to the Toastmaster for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Kidney Stories Toastmasters. I wanted to extend a very warm welcome to our guests and members, and also to thank all of the members who will be, and guests who will be participating in tonight's session. As a Toastmaster, throughout the session, I'll be introducing people who will be assisting us in many of the various roles. And I would like to start by turning this to Mark Scott, who's our thought and quote master, and he will share with us an inspirational or meaningful quote to live by. So go ahead, Mark.
Okay, Lisa, can you share a screen?
Yes, you can.
So, I hope you can see it.
I can.
Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't.
Great quote. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was extremely inspirational. Next up is our general evaluator. In addition to providing the general evaluation at the end of the meeting, he will also be calling upon many roles within the meeting evaluation team. And so I will turn this over now to George Thompson.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Let me start by saying our club mission is that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communications and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I would like to ask everyone, if you are not speaking, to please mute yourselves, and that way that we cannot be distracted by extraneous noises. We also like to invite you to stick around after the meeting for open discussion and possibly some networking. With that, let me call up my evaluation and teams. First of all, our grammarian counter is Mary Ann Grady. What will you be looking for?
I will be listening very carefully for any types of crutch words. Ahs, ums, too many ands or so's. I'll be paying attention, so watch it.
Very good. Extremely important for a Toastmasters group. Next, we have a timer. Larry, what will you be looking for and what will you be showing us?
Greetings, Madam. I said Madam, now it was changed. Master Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As the timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will alert each of the speakers at the time they have left using the following cards. Green, and depending upon green will be depending upon the length of their speech. Yellow would be, let's say, a 2-minute warning on a 3-minute speech, and red would be the final minute of that speech as an example. So I will be giving them a visual stopwatch. They'll be able to see what area of the speech they have and when they have to complete it. Thank you.
Very good, Larry. Thank you. And finally, to our evaluator, one speech will be evaluated this evening, and that is Sarah Cosette, who will be evaluating Mark Scotch. Sarah, what will you be looking for?
Yes, the purpose of the speech is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. This is research and presenting. So I'll be reviewing that and evaluating at the end of the meeting.
Very good. Okay, with that, that is our evaluators and our team reports. So now I will turn it back to our Toastmaster to continue the meeting.
Master Evaluator, can I interrupt for just a moment to request that we get the word of the day from Mary Ann, please? Thank you.
I put it in the chat, advocate.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. And now we enter the prepared speech portion of the session. And our first speech is from our guest, Jim Myers. And the title of the speech is What Led Me to Become a Kidney Advocate? Jim Myers has been on his kidney journey for most of his life. Tonight, he will present how being a kidney warrior has led him to being one of the most powerful and influential kidney advocates in the kidney community. We are really looking forward to hearing Jim's story. So welcome, Jim, and thank you for sharing your journey with us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. Just briefly, I am from Hammond, Indiana. I'm a polycystic kidney disease patient. I have been a PKD patient for over 40 years.
I was diagnosed when I was 25. I was on dialysis at the age of 58. I was transplanted at the age of 62. I have lost 5 members of my family to polycystic kidney disease, including my father. And as you know, I'm a very active kidney advocate. So the topic for tonight is how and why I became a kidney advocate. I have 2 stories to tell with reference to that. First, I went on dialysis. I was at a Fresenius dialysis center in Crown Point, Indiana. At that point in time that I was on dialysis, there was a movement to try and cut services and personnel to dialysis centers. And what I noticed is that the people in my center, and I assumed the people in many centers across the United States, they were coming in wheelchairs. They were coming in on gurneys. They were walking with canes and with walkers. And they just didn't seem to have the will to fight. I'm an old trial lawyer. I came in, I was relatively healthy except for my kidneys. And when I saw what they were doing, I kind of felt like these people are taking advantage of these really sick people, and it's like shooting fish in a barrel. So I decided, you know, who else here has the connections and the experience to fight this, to stand up against it, to try and rally other people. And I came to one conclusion: you're the only guy here that can do this, Jim, so you're going to have to do it. So what I did is I joined a lot of large kidney organizations like the National Kidney Foundation and the American Association of Kidney Patients. I created a petition on change.org that went national. I'm very active on social media and had been for some time. I created a number of kidney groups. I joined a number of kidney groups, and I did everything that I could to spread the word. And as a result of my efforts and the efforts of many, many other individuals and organizations, we managed to stop them from doing that, or at least slow it down for a period of time, so that the people that were taking dialysis did not suffer from a loss of personnel, like your social worker, like your nurse, like your director, you know, like your coordinator in social coordinator in the group. So as a result of that, I realized that over the course of my life, I had experiences as a trial lawyer and as an advocate and fighting for other people. The people I used to represent as a lawyer were injured. I did personal injury work primarily, automobile accidents, medical malpractice, products liability, workman's compensation, those kinds of things. And this was a natural outgrowth of that. I felt a certain responsibility to my fellow kidney patients. So that is one reason why I became a kidney advocate. The second reason that I became a kidney advocate, and I'm going to warn you up front, sometimes I get a little emotional talking about my father. So if that happens tonight, please forgive me. I'm going to try not to do that, but sometimes I do. My dad was a grocer from Cedar Lake, Indiana. He had a couple of grocery stores there. He loved to do the work in the grocery store. He loved being around the people. He loved being around the young people that he hired. When he was sick and he was diagnosed and he was put on dialysis, this came as a large blow to him because he was not able to do the things that he wanted to do. In the early part of the 1980s, in our area here in Northwest Indiana, he was offered the opportunity to go on peritoneal dialysis. And this is very early on for PD. And he accepted that challenge because he felt that it would enable him to continue working, to continue to do the things that he loved to do, and to continue to interact with both his employees and members of the public in his grocery stores. So he accepted that challenge. The last month of his life, he was hospitalized in Hammond, Indiana, where I live, and they would ask him periodically to speak to other kidney patients. Now, you should know I'm more like my mom than I am like my dad. My mom was very outgoing and very well spoken. She had worked for attorneys, so she kind of knew her way around and she knew how to talk. My dad was very, very quiet and reserved, and he really, outside of his business, he really didn't like talking to people. For example, you could go out to dinner with my father and sit through a whole meal, and unless you were willing to carry the conversation, he probably wouldn't say very much outside of ordering his food and saying thank you to the waitress at the end of the meal. He was just that kind of reserved, quiet sort of guy, an introvert. So at any rate, they would ask him to do this. And the last month of his life, I was there in the hospital at St. Margaret's with him every day, because we all knew he wasn't ever going to come home, and he knew he wasn't ever going to come home. So I was with him one day, and a nurse came in and said, so-and-so down the hall would like to talk to you about your experiences on peritoneal dialysis. And because I was there all the time, they got him a wheelchair, they told me where to go, and I was wheeling him down the hall to this other person's room. Now, I kind of had to support him in this wheelchair to get him there. And when I got him there, he and the gentleman had a conversation, and my dad struggled and he stammered and he had difficulty speaking, but he finally got everything out that he wanted to get out. And by the time he was finished, it was obvious that he was completely exhausted. He was slumped over in his chair, and he was having difficulty breathing, and he was having difficulty speaking. So on the way back to his room, I had to put my arm under both of his arms and around his chest to hold him into the chair. And we zigzagged our way back to his room. And when we got back to his room, they had to use a lift to put him back into his bed. That's how tired he really was. But what struck me at the time is, despite the fact that he knew he was going to die, despite the fact that he was exhausted, despite the fact that he had this difficulty speaking, he went down to that man's room because he thought that would help him. And he wanted to give this conversation to him. He wanted to have this talk with him, despite everything that was going wrong. And, eventually, a few days later, my father died from polycystic kidney disease secondary to congestive heart failure. That was back in 1983. So that inspired me as an advocate. And when I accepted the responsibility to do this, part of what I remembered was, no matter what happened to my dad, or how bad off he was, or what his difficulties were in speaking, or how he felt, or the fact that he knew, my dad knew, we would talk about this, that he was never, ever going to go home again, that this was his last stop. He knew, despite all of that, this was important enough for him to go down and have that conversation. So the reason that I became a kidney advocate, the reason that I'm so active on social media, the reason I belong to so many advocacy groups, the NKF, I'm a Selleck Award winner with them, they're Advocate of the Year. The AAKP, I'm on their board of directors. I advocate with the American Kidney Fund, the Dialysis Patient Citizens, Kidney Can. I don't have kidney cancer, but I advocate for kidney cancer patients, the Chronic Disease Coalition. The reason I do all of these things is because of the example that my dad set for me, that no matter what, if you accept this responsibility, there's no 50%, there's no 40%. This is 100% responsibility. If you take on the responsibility for somebody else, you're all in, baby. You're not there part of the time. You're there all of the time. And the example that he set for me and the things that I learned as a trial lawyer, I began to realize that the things that had happened to me in my life, the training that I had, the experiences that I had lent themselves to making me a kidney advocate. So that's why I do the things that I do. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you so much, Jim. That was very, very heartfelt and very, very inspiring. I would like to give people a minute to, if you have a question for Jim or if you want to send some feedback, you can do so in chat, either personally to Jim or to everyone. So can you put a minute on the clock? Go ahead. Did you have a question, Marianne?
Yes, Jim, how did you start this ball rolling? I'm moving to a new area and I'm not going to be near my original transplant center where I was transplanted. I'm going to be near the Mayo Clinic in Florida. And I want to do advocacy work, but I don't really know where to start.
What I would recommend initially is that you use social media because that's nationwide. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, those kinds of things will make it easier for you to make connections and to get known. I would also recommend that you join some kidney advocacy groups, the NKF. Surely where they live, or where you live now, near the Mayo Clinic, they have a local NKF group. For example, in my home state, they have the NKF of Indiana. You should join those local kidney advocacy groups. Make yourself known, make your desires known. Contact the hospital nearby where you live, the Mayo Clinic, for example. Tell them that you're willing to talk to their kidney patients that have issues or questions. I mean, they can learn from your experiences, Marianne. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Join some local social group, the Lions, a local church, some kind of group like that, okay? And, make it known that this is what I do, that, I'm more than happy to speak with kidney patients. I'm more than happy to share my experiences. I'm more than happy to get up in front of a group and give talks. Contact your local newspaper, write a letter to the editor, pick some kidney topic that is of interest to you. For example, right at the moment, we're trying to pass the Living Donor Protection Act on a nationwide basis. We're running out of time. After the first of the year, we get to start over and ask all the people that have co-sponsored for us to re-up and co-sponsor again. And that's assuming that some of our folks don't lose elections. So that's, for example, is an important issue. You pick some issue that's personal to you. That's important, whether it's pediatric kidney patients, the kind of abnormality that you have as a kidney patient. For example, I advocate for the PKD Foundation, for the Polycystic Kidney Disease Foundation. I do that because I have PKD and I'm familiar with it. I can talk intelligently about it. So find something that's personal to you, put yourself out there, and if you have questions or you need help, don't be afraid to contact me. You can find me at kidneystories at hotmail.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, just look for Jim Myers. I'm the good looking one. And, I'm happy to help out any way I can. I have a group, Kidney Advocates. You may want to join our group. You can ask questions there of advocates from all over the world.
Thank you so much, Jim. And if you want if people can contact you after the session, please, I think you already told them how to contact you, but feel free to put it in chat as well. And thank you again for all of your efforts and sharing your journey tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything I can do to help, I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much. Our next speech, and hopefully everyone's had a chance to send a message to Jim by chat, giving him feedback on the speech. You can DM it directly if you wish, or put it into chat. We will now move on to the next speaker for today, which is Mark Scotch, and he will be speaking from his pathways, which is presentation mastery and L3 elective, researching and presenting new, for about 5 to 7 minutes. And his speech for today, the title is Branding for Results in the Kidney Transplant World, One Person's Perspective. Mark Scotch met Hugh Smith, a stranger, and offered his kidney to Hugh after Hugh said he was looking for one. And the question was, why did Mark do that? And what was it about Hugh that prompted this response? So today, Mark will discuss with us this particular interaction, along with what he has learned from his success with Organ Trail as it pertains to branding for results in the kidney transplant world. So Mark, welcome. Do we have Mark? Scotch? No?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is. Hi.
Okay, now I'm ready. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. Can we share the screen? Who's ever got control of that? Is that on? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, my talk is branding for results in the kidney transplant world, one person's perspective. And I'm a living donor. That's really the only perspective I have. And a lot of you folks are looking for a living donor as recipients. And I can give you my suggestions from my perspective. I hope they make some sense based on my interaction with the person that I did donate for, Hugh Smith. So marketing in the competitive world of living kidney donation. And I hate to use the word branding and marketing. They're business terms. Some people don't like the idea that maybe we reduce this to business terms, but there's a lot of correlation to it. So with that respect, I think there's a lot of parallels that we should take advantage of it. So one of the things I started when I was thinking about when I started this was how many people are really out there? And I went online and found this graph. If you look on the right side, it says 25 to 64-year-olds. If you go across to 2021, there's 172,390,459 people in the United States between the ages of 25 and 64. That's a lot of people. So how many people can actually donate a kidney? So I went to another site, Science Daily, and found out that they did some work, and they found out that 31% of the total population can physically and financially donate a kidney. Now, physically, we know, everybody here probably knows, people that have kidney problems themselves, have physical issues, kidney stones, cancer, can't donate. Financially, I think there's a lot of people that think they can't donate because of the financial situation, but that's our job to market it and to let them know that there are donor protections out there that can help in that area. But 31% of the total people. So if we take 172 million people in that age group, 31% of that is 53 million people. That's a lot of people. Another search and found out that 84% of the people when asked said they would donate to a family or a friend, and 49% said they would donate to a stranger. What people say they do and what they will do, we know are two different things. But just because someone says they will donate and they don't, doesn't mean they might not donate later. So we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. But 53 million people, 26 million people, that's still a ton of people. Currently in the United States, we do between 5,000 to 6,000 living kidney transplant a year across the whole country. So 6,000, let's just say there's 6,000, 26 million people, that's 0.02% of the potential that's being used. What if we just try to get 1% of 26 million people? That's 260,000 people. 95,000 people on the current wait list. 36,000 are added every year, 3,000 a month. Means that we could have plenty of people. So how can you get noticed? It's your story. You're unique, so it's your story. I think the more unique you can make it, the more to yourself is your odds are better. You deserve a kidney. That's just, I think some people are afraid to ask, but you deserve a kidney. Consistency matters. The story has to be authentic. You can't really copy it. It has to be you. Having a positive attitude is critical. Be joyous. Why do I say be joyous? When I met this Hugh Smith guy, I talked to him for about an hour and a half, and he was just a happy guy. He was just that, enjoying life, like just enjoy it. He was just joyous. And it just struck me so odd when he told me he needed a kidney. It just didn't make sense. He should have been depressed. He should have been in his beard, but he wasn't. He was very joyous, and that just struck me. Some people suggest looking for people that are already donating blood, plasma, bone marrow, volunteers at the local, kitchens and stuff like that. Most important thing is don't prejudge everybody or market to everybody. You're trying to find the 1% for you. You're not in competition with anyone, really. Your story will relate to a certain person. You got to find that person. It's all marketing. So some of the resources that I've do for this talk, and also in my 2 years of learning to be a living donor and helping people, Abigail Marsh, she wrote a book called The Fear Factor. She's very interesting on YouTube. She's on NKDO's website, but she tries to isolate. Why do people donate? Altruistic donors, they don't discount strangers' welfare. They care about strangers. They really do. They're very high in what's called honesty and humility. Phony people. And one of the most important things that she found, they are thriving. People that have their act together, people that are in love, and they're maybe looking for something else because they've accomplished a certain amount of, in their life. So people that are thriving is what she says. Harvey Mazel, he's a two-time kidney recipient. He's got a website. You can go there and find out what he has to say about finding your donor. He calls it having your donor find you. If you're part of NKR, most of you who are part of NKR know about microsites. We have 2 people on tonight that are guests that work in this area. I think there's 300 people right now on the microsites. And some people do their own microsites. Some people get coaching. That's what Debbie and Terry do. So to them, if you don't have a microsite. If you're not part of NKR, Ellis Mirsky helps people through his work with Kidney Success and Kidney Advocate, another resource. What's the easiest way for a potential donor to donate? To me, that's the key. If you find someone who's interested, make it as easy as possible. And for my research, and for me personally, it's the voucher program. Learn about the voucher program. If you learn about this, you won't have to worry about blood type. You won't have to worry about matching anybody. It makes it so much easier for your potential donor. It's very critical, I think. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. And not to be a victim, I believe you'll have more success. And that's Hugh Smith, myself, and my wife, Lynn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I learned some new things which I did not know. Thank you for sharing that. And we will give about a minute. We'll put a minute on the clock. If people want to send some feedback, either you can send it to everyone or personally DM it over to Mark. All right, I was watching my clock, so hopefully I did give everyone the full minute, but please continue sending feedback. We will now enter the impromptu speech part of it, which is our table topics. And I always love Lisa's table topics, so I'm excited to see what she has in store for us today. So I'll turn it over to Lisa to talk about table topics.
Well, thank you so much for the warm introduction, Lakshmi. Such great speeches tonight. I'm so thrilled that our guests have come and our speeches were just incredible. I learned a lot as well. So for tonight, Larry and I worked together earlier on table topics. Table topics. So Toastmasters, for you that may not know or may not realize, has the acronym PI. PI stands for Prepared Speeches, Impromptu Speeches, and Evaluations. And that's what most Toastmasters, if not all, aim to do, is to present prepared speeches, impromptu speeches, and evaluations. So this section is our impromptu speeches. We call them table topics. And when Toastmasters was first formed, table topics was what people were really training for, because they'd be at a huge banquet at a very long table and they'd arbitrarily be called on to give the interesting speech for that moment. And throughout the meal, different people would present different speeches. So part of what we like to do in training for Toastmasters and to be public speakers is to get comfortable with impromptu speeches. So Larry and I worked on creating a wheel for tonight, and I'd like to be able to share that now. And here is our wheel. Can you see the wheel? Can you all see this?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to call on someone. And Dexter, you promised us you would do one of these tonight. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, Dexter, I'm going to spin the wheel. Whatever comes up, it's going to be yours. And Larry's going to be doing the timing for you. So we're going to spin the wheel. And the question is, what do you think motivates a person to be a living kidney donor? What do you think motivates a person to be a living kidney donor, Dexter?
Wow. If I could figure this out, I probably would have a living kidney donor. But I think a lot of people are motivated just because they care about other people's well-being. I know a lot of people donate kidneys to people that they don't even know. You know, I have met a few people that have done it. And I think that just comes from your humanity, caring about your fellow man, and you don't want to see anyone suffer, even, you know. And I think that's what motivates them to be a living kidney donor.
Great answer, Dexter. Thank you. So I forgot to mention prior to doing this, the table topics are typically between 1 and 2 minutes. I know it seems like a very long time period. However, that's the goal. And at the 1 minute mark, Larry will show the green card. At the 1.5, the yellow card. And at the 2 minute, the red card. So try to speak for that amount of time in your speeches.
Can I add one other thing?
You want to continue?
Just one other thing I thought about. Now, what keeps a lot of people from donating, I think, is fear. But then these people that give the living kidneys, they seem to lack the fear of going through the operation. They seem to, I guess they're at peace, so they can do it, you know. I think that means a lot too. I don't know. Because I think
Dexter.
some people want to donate, but then fear keeps them from doing it.
I think that's really true. And people are often afraid of blood and pain, and what they don't realize is that even though it's really hard, it saves a person's life. And so I think that the more we allay their fears and the myths that they believe, the easier it will be for them to donate. So thank you very much, Dix. Okay, who would like to do the next question? I can't see all of you, I'm sorry. With the wheel up, it makes it hard. So if you unmute and you let me know that you'd like to do it, or if you use the raise hand and Sarah calls on you, that might be easier. I could pick someone randomly.
I don't see any raised hands, but you
Okay,
want to
Donna Honeywell, you promised me a table topic. Are you ready, Donna?
I guess. What?
Okay, so we're going to
Rotate that wheel.
eliminate that question, and we're going to spin the wheel again for you. And I love this question. So Donna, what ways do you advocate for the kidney community?
Okay. Can you share my screen?
Do you want me to stop sharing mine so you can share yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see it?
We do. That's awesome.
Um,
Do you want to use, so there's a button on there where you can do the presentation mode, maybe from the beginning?
there you go. That was the big one that I wanted
There
to
you
show.
go. Perfect.
Okay, so it's funny because I didn't know what you were going to ask me to talk about. Great, and I lost my timer, so yell at me if I go over. So what do I use? It's funny, when I started out, we found out 6 years ago Billy needed a kidney. My husband, well, 5 years ago, and they took us into the train us with all the stuff that we would need to know after he got a kidney, and I was shocked that they didn't give us any materials or any support group. Like, it was just, I'm like, what do I care what I'm gonna need in 6 years? How do I get through the next 6 years? So I didn't know about NKR or anything else, and I developed a lot of stuff. This is the one piece that's been kind of successful. These are my yard signs, and I've had tons of these made, and I put them, I contact all my friends on Facebook. I always have them in the back of my car wherever I go. If it's a restaurant, if it's a nail salon, whatever, I go out of my way to get these placed there. So about a year and a half ago, I met Lisa. She's been fantastic and has taught me how to really perk up the website for Bill. And I also had to do a redirect because that NKR website is impossible to remember. So I set up Bill Needs a Kidney and have it redirect to the NKR site. So I'm constantly putting things out there on Facebook. And the other thing I did is I developed, this was the old one that said, but then I did the yellow one. The yellow one has been a much bigger hit. It's easier to see. I also have this 8x10 flyer, which is, I just had one put in the local diner. I give them out to friends. I email them to my friends and say, please put these at work, put at church, anywhere. So it's trying to get the word out and getting people to share has been everything. I also have these, I made business cards, and on the back is Billy's picture and his story. And on the front, it's, the website. And then I came up with it. Lisa helped me with this crazy kiwi campaign, because the kiwi bird looks like a kidney. It's kind of kidney shaped. And we came up with this whole thing, but then my family said they didn't want to do it. But so I now have a house full of kiwis for no particular reason. And the reason was because they have this big bill. My husband's name is Bill. It's shaped like a kidney. Anyway, and I wanted to do a rap song on TikTok and some other things, but my family voted me down. So, and that's the QR code as well that we came up with. So I'm trying a lot of stuff, but I haven't had any luck yet. So there you go. He's coming up on 6 years soon. So I'm really hoping we're going to be able to get him a kidney. I'm trying. My car is covered in big, clear, like 2 foot by 2 foot signs that say BillyNeedsAKidney.com. Everywhere I go, I take the message.
That's awesome.
These are some of the things I've tried. I wish I could say they'd worked, but there you are.
Donna, stick around afterwards because Terry and Debbie are also coaches and may have some really good ideas for you on how to increase the shares that you've been getting.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Donna.
Fantastic.
That was wonderful.
How long did I go?
2 minutes, 48 seconds. Very
Oh,
good.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You had a lot of visuals. That's why it took longer. They're wonderful visuals.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and we'll take that question off. And we need to come up with another person who would like to speak tonight. So how about if we ask for a volunteer? Tracy Baker, would you like to volunteer?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Tracy Baker is a distinguished Toastmaster someplace in Ohio, and we are delighted to have Tracy here. So let me spin the wheel, Tracy, and let's see if we can encourage you to answer a question. So I know you don't have a kidney story, but what motivates you to tell your story?
We had to set the clocks back, tick-tock back. We had to do what we had to do for Donna and Bill. I look like Shaquille O'Neal, but I'm not him. I'm here tonight to tell you all that I'm a rapper. Not really. I'm more of an advocate for people doing what they have to do, no matter how embarrassing, no matter how sad, no matter how whatever. And when I hear all these stories about these wonderful kidney donors and kidney recipients and people that are on the waiting list like Dexter, I say to myself that you should get up and make a TikTok video, Donna. You should get up and make that rap. You should get up and make those flyers. You should do whatever you have to do for your dad, Sneha, and find a way to be an advocate in your own way. Now, when I was a young man, I wanted to be a rapper more than anything else. I wanted to be a rapper like LL Cool J because he had all the women, he had the muscles, and he had the hat, and he could lick his lips. But I was too afraid because, as Dexter said, fear kept me from doing the things that I wanted to do. So when I come on this call tonight, I have no idea about kidneys. Only thing I know about kidneys is kidney beans in my chili. Now, that's a joke, obviously, so don't nobody get upset and me taking it light because I'm not. I'm really an advocate for you to do and be and have what it is that you need to do, be and have in life. And if that's a kidney, by all means, do whatever you have to do. So tonight, in honor of Donna and everybody else on the call, I am Kidney B. That's my rap name. So from now on, I'm going to be Kidney B. I'm going to come back here in a couple of weeks when we have another meeting. I'm going to give a speech as a whole rap about why I believe everyone should be together in advocacy for making sure kidneys are thought of and that people are thinking about how to make sure we're covering each other. So with that being said, fellow Toastmasters, Mama said knock you out. Yes, like Sneha said, but I want you to knock in. I want you to be very in tune. I want you, like Jim Myers was talking about his story. And by the way, I went to college in Franklin, Indiana. So I know exactly where you are, Jim Myers. I want you all to find a way to rap about what you have to do and don't call it a rap because there's always hope, especially when you're advocates for the kidney community. Table Topics Master.
Tracy, you are amazing and a blessing to have in our room. I am so happy you're here and I sure hope you keep coming. So I feel blessed to have you in the house, Tracy. Thank you so much. Do we have time for more?
Marianne has her hand up.
Perfect. How much more time do we have?
We have time.
Oh, that's great. Marianne, I'm ready to call on you.
I'm ready to answer.
Wonderful. So we've got 3 more questions. Let's see what we can find. Can you see the wheel, Marianne?
I can.
Great. I'm so thrilled to know that. Okay, I'm in love with this question. So when I looked for my kidney, I tried very hard to constantly give a 2-minute elevator pitch to find your donor. And I am looking forward to you doing just that, Marianne. So what is your 2-minute elevator pitch to find your donor?
Well, I was lucky in that I had family members who were willing to donate right off the bat, so I didn't have to really work hard to pitch. But I would say that most people need to explain what is at stake, because I really understood nothing about this until I got my diagnosis and started to learn. So I was like, you feel bad thinking about asking somebody because you don't really know what's involved. So I think the biggest thing is to make sure you are well versed in the risks and things that a donor would face, because most of them are really very small. So if you're able to remove those barriers in front of them and help them get comfortable with this idea and the fact that they can live their life very comfortably. Now, my son was my donor, and he runs, he's very active, he does all kinds of things, and I wouldn't have guessed that he could do that. The only thing they asked him not to do was to play contact sports. So, I mean, that's not really a big risk for somebody who's 40 years old. So I don't know. I think having people understand what's at stake, not just saying I need, but let them know what's in it for them. And I asked a question earlier about let's see, what was his name? Mark Scott. And I said, how did you feel when it was done? And I started a project where I'm interviewing people who have donated. And one of the responses I got was, it was the greatest thing they ever did in their life because they were helping somebody. And like, to hear that for somebody who's considering it, like, wow, like, wouldn't you want that feeling? So I think letting people know that you can help people and not really put yourself at too much risk, I think is really the key to making a successful pitch.
That's amazing, Marianne. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a great, great oration. Thank you. And it looks like you came in under time, so we're even more delighted. Okay, let's have someone else volunteer. We've got 2 more questions. So Larry, I know that you're doing the time cards, but how about you answer, how do you cope through your kidney journey?
So you want me to multitask? Why did I know?
We'll let Sarah take care of the timing for your 2 minutes.
Okay. I thought you were going to test my multitasking skills, which is okay.
No, we're going to leave those alone. But
Okay.
but I love your answer to this question. So how do you cope through your kidney journey?
I cope through my kidney journey on a day-to-day basis. I've used this example in the past where I had a boss who would say, you have a big project, and a living kidney donor campaign is a big, big project. It's like eating a large elephant. You take small bites, and for the past year and a half, I continue to take small bites off that elephant. I've taken an ear or 2, maybe part of the tail, but there's still enough of the elephant left that I have to do work every single day. From the minute I get up, the minute I go to sleep, to make sure if I haven't spoken to somebody in a while, I speak to them again. And the coping is more for me personally, feeling that I'm in control. If I'm in control of it, and I believe I am, then that's my coping mechanisms, is to be in charge, in control. It works for my personality. It makes me feel like I'm doing something to help myself, and hopefully at one day be able to help others through the same campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. That was great. 1 more.
Okay, now I'm back on duty. Okay.
You're back on duty.
Okay.
All right, so I'm reading this one upside down, and I'd like to call on, wait 1 second, I remember who it was. Helen, you said you got a kidney, right?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. So what were your first thoughts when you found out you needed a kidney?
Oh my God. I was very stressed, actually, because I got a kidney 17 years ago. And then after 22 years, it failed. And I didn't know what I was, going to do. and I started to reach out to people, for help. And then my cousin called me and was trying to find out how I'm doing. And I just told her, what's happening to me. And she's like, I think I'm O positive. I want to be a donor. Give me the link right now. I'm going to sign up. And I'm like, are you sure you really want to do this? I kind of doubted a bit, but then in the end, she sure went through for it. But this whole process took so long that I get very stressed about this whole journey. It's almost like going into 8th month now. And finally, they give her some time that her surgery will be between the 28th of this month and the 19th of next month. So they'll give her a 2 weeks head start. And that's it. But I'm trying to cope. I get very depressed. I'm home most of the time because I'm not working right now. And I try to just be happy and, try to think of the good times and just wait. That's it. That's how I cope with friends and family around me.
So she was approved to give to you?
Yes, she's O positive, but for some reason, I guess my antibodies, it was attacking her. So she had to do the exchange program. And so now once she's activated to do the surgery, and then I'll be the next.
So is she giving you a voucher?
Yes, they'll give me a voucher.
And then they're going to find you, what kind do you need?
Yes.
What is it what kind of blood do you have? What do
A
you
positive.
need? A positive. So that's pretty fast.
Yes, I'm hoping. They told me within 3 months and it can be less. So
Wow.
I'm excited and I'm just coping and just waiting because I have to return to work by the end of March. So it's kind of, a little nerve.
Yeah, I needed an A positive and it went very quickly. So that's wonderful. I'm so happy. We should talk during the week.
No problem. Thank you.
Great story, Helen. Thank you so much.
Well,
that was a fabulous table topics, and I'm going to come back to the room somehow.
Lisa, we have like another 10 minutes if you want to.
Really?
Yeah, because at 8:13, we're ahead of time. So
what would you like to do?
Maybe if everyone gives their elevator pitch.
That's a great idea. So when I gave my elevator pitch, it was 2 minutes. And I'm going to try to do it again now. And then that's the way I would like my clients to be doing more of it. So listen really carefully while I do my 2 minutes, and I'll show you what I did. So, and then you guys can try it. So Larry, can we have you be the timer for my 2 minutes?
My fingers ready to go.
Perfect. So I actually gave this speech often 4 years ago when I was looking for my kidney donor. And basically I'd go into McDonald's and they'd say, what would you have? And I'd scream at the top of my lungs, I want a kidney, please. And people would look at me and they'd say, so what are you talking about, you crazy lady? Why are you asking for a kidney in the middle of McDonald's? And I would say, I am suffering and I really am not asking for your kidney. I'm asking for you to share my story. And I would give them a card that had the link to my story, kidneyforlisa.com. And I would tell them about the newspaper articles and the magazine spread. And I would say, please go to my website, go to my Facebook page, and look at kidneyforlisa.com. And in 6 weeks, I had 32,600 views, and my partner sent it out as part of my campaign to 300 people as an email blast. And his friend came forward and said, if this is for real and it's not spam, then I will give you my kidney. And he had a B positive kidney, and I needed an A positive, similar to Helen's need. And his B positive went to Boston, and Boston went to Seattle. Seattle sent N-Chain back to California, where my altruistic kidney mama, Carrie McConnell, gave me her A positive. It was remoted to New York, and we've now been able to tell this story with Mark Scotch's help, with the help of USA Humankind. It's been seen over 250,000 times, and you can see my story also. It's featured on the Facebook group that Jim and I do together, called Kidney Stories on Facebook. And my story is pinned to the top. Jim and I rotate, so sometimes his Fridays get there, and sometimes my group things get there, and sometimes Carrie's story is there. And that was my elevator pitch. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Thank you, Donna. Who would like to try one? Tanya. Either Tanya, would you like to try an elevator pitch? Tanya Lewis, unmute. We need your elevator pitch.
Right. I'm a fighter, and I'm a person that don't give up. And I feel that life is a battle anywhere. So I try to be as optimistic as I can every day. And the little babies that I watch, they motivate me even more so, because I feel a sense of responsibility towards them. So I put my best foot forward in the morning and do what I need to do. And, I post a lot of stuff and asking and, stuff like that. And I'm just, some days are hard and some days are good, but I stay motivated because I feel that if I have enough faith, one day it will happen for me. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Tanya. And Tanya Bagwell is in the house. We're ready to hear Tanya Bagwell. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. How's everybody? My elevator pitch, basically, I do a lot of talking. I work in the medical field. So I have a transplant of 28 years, but I am looking for another one. So I do a lot of talking to my patients about myself, because they don't believe that I needed a transplant or have a transplant now and need another one. But I do a lot of talking with that. And also I try to start a podcast, Journey of a Kidney Survivor, to just get the word out on what I need. My next step is to try to do some business cards so I can place them around and at different places and send some down to Tennessee where my sister is, so she can pass them out and different things. But I also like to be an advocate to help other people as well as myself. So I just try to share my story with other people, and I try to keep posting on Facebook. I am on Facebook, and I posted it on Facebook, and I try to get on there every month to let them see my story and let them read my story and share my story. So I have views, and I have a few people that went up to see if there was a match, but it wasn't a match. So I'm still grateful for what they have done. And I'm just waiting, and I'm waiting on God. I'm not sure if anybody's spiritual, but I am. I believe in God and I have faith. But I truly thank you, Lisa, for inviting me tonight. And I'm glad to meet other people who is going through the same thing I'm going through. Thank you, and you have a good evening.
Well, thank you, Tanya, and thank you so much for the feedback that you gave us after the last time you were here. I hope that this meeting met your needs better than that last meeting did. So thank you for giving us another chance.
Yes, it did.
And who's next? How about Lisa Milner Rogers? How about Mike Graff? Mike, you've got a great website that Ellis did for you, right?
Yes, he did. And
can we see you, Mike?
how do we do this here?
Here, I'm giving you a jump start.
Mike, turn on your video.
I got it. Okay, it was on video. Come on.
Are you
unable to access camera?
That's weird. What kind of device are you on?
I'm on my Samsung.
Okay, we'll
Android.
just listen. That's fine. I'm looking
All right.
forward to your story.
Diagnosed kidney a couple years, chronic kidney disease a couple years ago. I've got a great support through my two kids. And of course, Mark Scotch has been very influential helping me getting this thing. Mark and his son and my son went to middle school, high school, grade school together. And it's been, I learned so much from Mark, how to go about advocating and getting this done. We've had some mild successes. Currently right now, we've got a couple people being vetted. We use magnetic signs, posters, Facebook, LinkedIn. My local church has advocating for me. We have a very large picnic throughout the community in Appleton, and it's city of 80,000. And they asked if I wanted to put posters up through the whole picnic. So, that's helped a lot. We're getting hits, and that's a good thing. I'm learning a lot. I hadn't had a chance to get on Toastmasters, but there's a lot of good things here that I think that I'm going to take advantage and do also, doing whatever it takes. But there's an interesting thing about, I think there's a bigger story later on after this is all done. I'd like to talk to Jim Myers about, and Mark, and if you, but anyway, good. I'm glad I was invited. I learned a lot. I'm having some success. Hopefully, hopefully we can get this thing done next year. So.
I'm hoping that you have a lot more success and that you do complete your mission, Mike, and that you stick around afterwards and we can talk about the things you're thinking about. Thank you. Sneha, we are ready for you.
Sorry, I was looking for the button. I don't have a 2-minute elevator pitch yet. I'm trying to help my dad find a kidney. He's 79 and started dialysis about a year ago. It took us about a year to get approval to go through with the transplant. He had some congestive heart failure, got complicated things. So now we're just, I'm not able, unfortunately, to donate for my father because of my health, but yeah, we're just trying to get him a kidney before he ages out.
Thank you, Sneha.
Thanks, everybody.
I hope we can do that. That's our intention is to get him that kidney. Thank you. Jim Miles, are you interested in speaking?
Lisa? Can you hear me?
I can. Is that Lisa Milner?
Yeah, I do not know how to use Zoom, so I was like, I didn't know how to respond. I'm used to Microsoft Teams, and I'm looking at it on my iPad, and it's kind of coming in, and I figured out how to do some things. But.
Good. Yeah, it's really different. I've been confused with Microsoft Teams too. Would you like to give your 2 minute?
Well, my journey just started this year. And I just got results back, and they were even lower than they were last month. So it's not too good to see, but I'm a pretty positive person. My family had polycystic, sound very similar to Jim's story. My mom had it brother passed away. Another brother's had a transplant. So here I am. I think tolvaptan helped me stay without needing dialysis for a while. But here we are. So this year, before I knew anything, coaching or anything that you're starting to provide and all the options that are available, I went out and had shirts made. And they say we are kidney for Lisa Rogers. And I'm a bowler. I'm still pretty active. I'm a league bowler and tournament bowler. And so I bowl about 4 times a week and tournaments on weekends. And I still also work full time. And so the word's getting out. I've had a couple of people who have had interest, but they weren't getting past the initial test. But now I have someone that's about to take do blood work on November 16th. So I'm happy to hear that.
Me too. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I know it's going to be a long journey, but I'm going to do this. I'm fighting.
Well, I'm so glad you're having somebody tested for you. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Man, making me, one last thing is, this is so positive, and I have a niece. My brother who passed away has 2 daughters, and both of them are, one just got the graft for dialysis last week, and the other one's headed there, and so I'm going to make sure that they are involved as well.
Great, thank you.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
I'm happy to talk with them and coach them as well. That's fun. That would be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm just sorry that that we have to do this at all. But if we have to, then we'll do it the best we can. There you are. We can actually see you now. Hi. I'm glad to see you. Good. Yeah, we've got an appointment this week, so we'll be talking soon.
Okay.
So that's great. Thank you. Good. So I'm looking through. Renee, are you in the house?
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know you. What's your last name?
McKinney.
Okay, and what's your story?
I had a kidney transplant in 2015. It's been 7 years so far, but the kidneys, it's not working as proper. How they have a stent that they put in your body and they take it out. With me, from 2015 to 2017, I have surgery every 3 months, taking the old stent out, putting a new stent back in. So I just started back on dialysis in 2019. I have my cards out. I've been giving them out and stuff. As far as family members, polycystic kidney disease runs in my family. My grandmother passed, my mother passed. My brother have it, my daughter have it, and just I'm keeping the faith. God brought me this far. He's gonna continue to bring me this far. And that's it.
Great, thank you. If you could put your email in the chat, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone we haven't heard from? Jim Miles, you were going to talk to us before? You're muted. Terry and Debbie, did you want to say anything tonight? Terry and/or Debbie? There's Jim Miles.
Here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. I live in a small town in Delaware. I'm about 45 minutes from downtown Philadelphia. And every night when I turn the news on, I read about all these killings of these young people. And I was just wondering, what happens to all their kidneys and livers and things, you know, from all the news I get, we could really get the bank filled up if that was allowed.
So typically they're not dying in the right place at the right time in the right way to be organ donors. And statistically speaking, deceased organ donors do not do as well, or recipients don't do as well with a deceased organ as they do with a living kidney donor. So living kidney donors last twice as long, statistically speaking, but these people have to die in the right way, at the right time, in the right place, and not have any kind of health issue whatsoever. So that's the issue with using those organs to the best of all of our advantage. Are you yourself?
They also have to be signed up as deceased donors. Or their family has to be
Sometimes their
contacted,
family can do it.
or their family has to agree for them to donate. So anytime an organ is without oxygen, it can't be used. So they would have to basically die in the hospital to start with. The fact that they're not signed up as living, or excuse me, as deceased donors, that's probably the biggest reason, I would guess.
Well, I can tell you from experience, because I'm listed at 2 hospitals now. Actually, I'll be listed at the second one next week. And going through all the process, I was given a piece of paper by Tampa General. They've been doing this for 40 years. And I showed this to Lisa and others. 3 out of 1,000 cadavers are usable. And the reason that's the case is it's almost as if they have to be in a motorcycle crash and have, unfortunately, be brain dead, but their body's still working, or God forbid, have an overdose. That's where they get that. And that's why it's so important, if you can go out to your neighbors and your friends and look for the living donor. Number one, as Lisa said, they last twice as long. Number two, they also graft quicker as opposed to a deceased donor. So the deceased donors are very, very hard to get. The majority of the people that die, even if it's on their donor card, are not going to be eligible for to give a donation. So that's why the living donor becomes something you could control a lot better.
Right. Tanya said she was lucky enough that her deceased donor lasted her 28 years. That's amazing.
That's
Definitely blessed. And Terry, Debbie, did you want to say something?
Sure. Terry, you want to?
You can go first.
Well, I have to say I'm delighted to work with Debbie and Terry as microsite coaches, and we meet regularly to discuss the best strategies to use in helping our clients. And together, the 3 of us and a few others are taking care of 1,700 clients. So there's 1,700 microsites out there. Not all of them are custom sites, but all of them are in our hearts, and we're working with all of them to get them living kidney donors. So Debbie, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I tried to last time, but I couldn't get to the unmute. So, one thing, I had a question. I can just put it out there for later, but however it works best. But Tanya, I believe it was, mentioned that she had a couple people test and they weren't matches. I believe that was the word. I mean, I just want to make sure that, things like the voucher program, paired exchange, that those people were offered opportunities to participate with that.
Well, actually, hello, this is Tanya. Hi. I'm not quite sure, but I did know that a few people, those ones, they said they wasn't. One lady said that she was too old, and someone else that tried it, it was something about the medicine they were taking. So
medical reasons. Okay.
Yeah. Another young lady that wanted to do it, and I was explaining to her, she's a nurse, and she said she always wanted to do it. Now I haven't really had a chance to talk to her on what actually happened. So those are the ones that I definitely know of. So I'm just still waiting.
Okay, great. That was just in my mind, so I had to ask. The only other thing I had to say Lisa was a great meeting. It was very interesting, very informative, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming, Debbie. Terry, we're way over time. Can you give a 30-second hello? And we're going to move on to the next portion.
Okay, I'm Terry Bennett, caregiver of 2 transplant recipient, and the recipient would be my son. So I took care of all 3 of them from 2010 and then 2018. I work as Debbie and I are locally here in Kentucky, and then we're nationally with the National Kidney Registry. And someone had asked about the protection plan for the National Kidney Registry. It's for the lost wages, for, you know, like if they're going to give a kidney, they get paid until they go back to work from the National Kidney Registry. It's a protection for the donor, like the living kidney donor. I wanted to mention that. That's a very good thing to be able to share with your donor. And then I encourage donors, if I'm looking for a living kidney donor, that it's the best way to go about a living kidney donor is all the testing they do. You get a clean bill of health most of the time. And you don't pay for it.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So that's called Donor Shield, and I will make sure that my clients are well familiar with that.
And thank you for having me. It was great.
Thank you, Terry. We're so glad that you and Debbie came, and we encourage you guys to come regularly. So I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Lakshmi, our Toastmaster, and thank you very much for a well done table topics.
I agree. That was very well done. And I will turn it over. I will now introduce back George, our general evaluator, who will give us the general evaluation and also call on the meeting reports. Welcome back, George. You're on mute. Okay.
There we go. Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Table Master. Toastmaster. First, we'll get to our evaluation. And that is Sarah Cosette, who evaluated Mark Scotch. Sarah, what do you have to say?
So Mark, I love your visuals. You were very well prepared with all the stats, great research and resources. You gave some great tips on what can be done. I actually was trying to take a picture of one of the screens and then you went to the other screen. So actually what I would suggest you slow down a little bit. I know you have a lot of information, but it's good. Like some of us want to capture or take notes, or I think it's great information. I just would love for you to have slowed down, maybe pause a little bit. And, just that there's so much information on those slides that I think all of us could benefit from that. So thank you. I really appreciate that. And maybe leave some time at the end for Q&A, because I definitely had some questions. And maybe others had questions. And I would love to hear another speech. Maybe you've done this, maybe I didn't mention it, but you didn't mention it, but the process of someone like me or someone like my sister or my husband, how could we get started to sign up? I really love your speech, but for you, what were the process? I know it's different for every hospital or center, but what is a process that you could pass on to someone else? Maybe just give us some more information on that as a segue. I know you gave a lot of good information. I was just trying to take it all in. But I think it was a great speech overall, great information. I think you should definitely put this on our YouTube channel, the recording, or put this onto your website, or you could do the speech again in another forum, in another club, or another setting that is catered to that audience. But great job overall. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Sarah. So what you're telling me is I need to make it a 20-minute speech, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, and you can do that again.
I think I ran over the way it is. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. Good questions.
And next, we're going to go over to our timer report. And Larry, what did you find with your timer?
I found that Mark Scotch was just a little bit over 7 minutes and 31 seconds. And as far as our table topic speakers, Dexter was 65 seconds. I combined both of his speeches. Donna was 2 minutes and 48. Tracy was 2 minutes and 16. Mary Ann is 2 minutes and 9 seconds. And Helen, you were 1 minute 36 seconds. And the story that you told mirrors my story. I have a neighbor who's been testing for almost a year because he's not following the instructions properly and still waiting for him to be approved. I still continue to go forward at 100 miles an hour to look for someone. He also is O positive, and O positive, I've been told, is gold in the kidney world. And I'm A positive. So on both ends, it's a good thing, but I don't count on that. I count on whatever's out there that I can get. Lisa, you were 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And here's where I run into the problem because I don't hear people's names. There was a Tanya and a Tonya. Is that correct? Lisa?
It's probably Tanya and Tanya.
Tanya and Tanya.
They're just spelled differently.
Oh, it's spelled differently. Okay. Well, one was 45 seconds and one was 1 minute 20 seconds. I can't tell you which one was which.
The one that spoke earlier was Tania, Tanya.
Okay, I got that right. And Tonya was the minute 20. Okay.
Right.
Mike was 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Again, here I didn't hear the name Fun. I wrote Fontana, but I know that's not the name. What was the name?
Which one?
I wrote Fontana because that's the only thing I heard. I know that's not her name. And it starts with an F.
With an F?
No, Fontana. That's what I heard.
Probably Tanya.
No, it wasn't Tanya. I had her already. It was a different
Okay.
name. Sometimes I don't see the name. So
Stina?
What's that?
There's is it Shania?
Neha was on too.
Neha?
Who's that?
Neha?
Neha. Don't ask me how I got that. I guess I got to get those hearing aids, the doctor says. Lisa, Lisa, was 1 minute 30. Renee was 51 seconds and Jim was about 40 seconds. And I think that's it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Larry. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, finally, we're going to head over to our grammarian and counter. Marianne, what did you find?
Well, I was actually told I was the counter and I wasn't listening as a grammarian, so my apologies. But what I did hear was with Mark, you had a couple of ahs and you connected sometimes with the word so, and it was just not necessary. Throughout the table topics, I heard a lot of like, oh, as you're thinking. And one thing that we need to be mindful of is that if you think before you speak, you can eliminate a lot of those. So just don't say anything for a second, think, and then make your utterance. And finally, Sarah, your connections were and. You used a few ands when you didn't really need to. So just be mindful. Everyone was actually very, very fluid tonight. I enjoyed the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Marianne. To wrap it up, I think that this was an excellent meeting and is probably one of the best meetings we've had in a long time. I enjoyed all the presentations, and I was going to say, Mark, you need to make this a special presentation that can be posted. It was great graphics, and you put it together as a good marketing tool. I must say that. With that, I would say that we got through this in a good amount of time, and hopefully we're just ready to wrap it up. And as we mentioned before, stick around and we'll get some other topics after the meeting. With that, I'll turn it back to our Toastmaster General and go ahead and take it away and wrap it up.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody who participated today, and also thank you for giving me the opportunity to be at these meetings. I was very, very inspired by this energy in the room, and I would love to come back again. And I will now turn it over to the president for some closing announcements. And then people can stay after if they have any questions for Jim and any of the speakers. Go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Thank you, everyone. This was a really great meeting. I'm so glad everyone came. It's now 8:30. If you'd like to leave, we understand that you have things to do. If not, I'm happy to stick around as long as you'd like to and entertain questions with our wonderful guests, Jim and Mark, and our guests, Debbie and Terry, and all of our wonderfully inspiring newcomers who came to listen to all of us. So thank you. If you have questions about Toastmasters, specifically Lakshmi and Sarah are particularly helpful with that. And this is just amazing. I think this is exactly what we're looking for in this group, is a good feel with the kidney community. And the kidney community was really well represented tonight, and there will be a recording available. So let us know if you would like that. And please, we meet 2 Sunday nights a month, the first and third Sunday, and we're delighted to have you. There's also been some discussion about maybe trying to have a time on Clubhouse. So if anyone is interested in that, it would be completely different from Toastmasters, but there are Toastmaster people meeting on Clubhouse, and some of the people in our district are amongst them. And I think that Larry and I are particularly interested in hosting a room there maybe once a week to talk about how to find your living kidney donor. And